We heard about Excelr8 Learning from a friend of our daughter's who was already enrolled in the system. So before we were even considering this for our daughter, we found out information from them. What it offers is an individualised style of learning. So rather than delivering one lesson to the whole class, our daughter has a lesson plan that's actually put together for her, which identifies her own sort of learning needs and fits her own style of learning. So the initial free national curriculum assessment that was offered at Excelr8 Learning helped to sort of identify what our daughter's sort of learning difficulties were in the first instance, and certainly sort of focused what those needs would be. We'd identified that she was having problems in class, but it was actually working out what those areas of focus needed to be. The teachers at Excelr8 Learning are really enthusiastic and encouraging of the students, which I think then rubs off onto their own learning. So it really motivates them to do their best. So our daughter finds the lessons at Excelr8 very beneficial. It's certainly helped her confidence alongside her ability, and that's certainly reflected in the results that we're getting back from school. So since she started Excelr8 Learning, which was in that transition from primary school to secondary school, it has secured certainly her ability in a high level maths set where she was initially struggling to keep up. So it's improved her confidence, but what it's also done is introduce new concepts of maths to her in advance of that being delivered in class. So she's sort of ahead of the game and just not struggling with new mathematical concepts. So at the end of each session, we receive feedback from the Excelr8 team on what they have delivered that day. So to have weekly feedback is far better than just termly reports that we receive from school. It gives us a chance to identify problems as we go along, and those problems can then be identified and sorted quite quickly, rather than sort of discovering them at the end of each term. So the information that Excelr8 Learning provide is twofold. One in verbal form at the end of each session, alongside the more formal written assessments that the students have to do. So I think because that's a continual weekly feedback, it's far better than what we get from the school organisation. Excelr8 Learning has made a huge difference to our child's progress and her confidence, and we see she's just very, very secure in the subjects that she's studying here, which is really comforting in preparation for her forthcoming GCSEs, and just really enjoying the subjects at school as a result. I would and I have recommended Excelr8 Learning to friends who have got children of similar ages, and have spoken to them about all the benefits that it can offer. Excelr8 Learning, we started our daughter when she moved to year 7, so in that transition from primary school to secondary school, just to get her over that hump initially. She's now in year 10, and we continue to see the value of Excelr8 Learning for her in her preparation for GCSE. So I don't think that we'd envisaged staying within the organisation for this long, but it continues to meet her learning needs.
I like this idea that they're getting ahead of the game as well.
Yeah, and it's so true
Yeah.
because sometimes I think they've introduced, I think they were talking about trig or something, and because Megan just has a grasp of it beforehand, I think it just makes such a difference to you, doesn't it?
Brilliant.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I often find I do 1 or 2 years ahead for some of the tasks. And there's a little year 4 boy, he was asking me about personification. So I ended up doing year 7 work on personification with him, which was great. And he was totally accessible to it.
Yes, indeed.
So I think that is confidence when you get into class and you...
Indeed, I think you can get someone like Megan as well can get lost in a class, a huge class of 30 students, maybe some of which are very confident.
I as a school teacher, there's so much wrong with classes.
Yes.
The peer pressure.
Yes.
The noisy ones.
Yes.
And you never know the quiet ones. You never know their names.
No.
Because you're constantly dealing with 3 or 4. You know this, don't you? It's
Yes.
always 3 or 4. Just take them out. But you can't, because the whole point about universal provision. And
that's it, and the structure, and it's quiet here. It's just more conducive to learning.
Yeah, it is. And I really love my teaching here. I genuinely do. I don't need to sell it.